YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for September 24th through 30th. This week I read 2 books, I watched 4 shows, and I listened to 2 books. Full disclosure on a couple of things. Right now I'm sick AF, which matches this moody natural lighting I'm getting. Thanks fall weather, you're good at atmosphere. Secondly, I'm filming this on Friday the 29th because in a couple of hours I'm catching a boat to Seattle, and by the time this is uploaded I will be getting on a boat to come home from Seattle. I'm going to Geek Girl Con, which starts tomorrow, which is Saturday for those of you playing along at home, which means I'm pretty confident that I won't have anything to add to the wrap-up for today or tomorrow, especially because Netflix won't let me download the 13th season of Grey's Anatomy, which just became available in Canada, for my boat ride. So I'll probably start watching it in my hostel after Geek Girl Con on Sunday because watching Grey's in Seattle makes me happy. Crossing my fingers for decent hostel Wi-Fi. This is my 4th year attending Geek Girl Con and my 2nd since I started this YouTube channel, so I'm going to try to vlog the con. But my attempt last year amounted to an intro in the hostel kitchen early the first day, and then predictably nothing else because I'm trash at vlogging in public, but I'll try. Okay, hot mess intro over, let's get on with it, shall we? First this week I finished Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan. This is a graphic novel that has at least 7 volumes at this point because that's how many I've seen come across my desk at work. It takes place on planets, moons other than Earth and in outer space, and includes magic, ghost children as a planetary defense, and humanoid interspecies breeding. This volume is told from the perspective of a child who was just born to parents on the run, and she has inherited her dad's horns and her mom's wings. So if that sounds suitably weird and up your alley, check it out. I think I'll continue the series, but I'm not completely submerged into it yet. This week I also read Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. I read this because Sajid over on Books Are My Social Life is completely obsessed with it, and I can see why because both it and he are sass factories. This book is about a group of teenage beauty queens whose plane crashes on a supposedly deserted island and how they survive and how they stay totally pretty while doing so. This book has a huge cast of characters, global politics, reality show pirates, and enough snark to fuel you for a year. I'm honestly still reeling from the snark in this book, and we'll be doing a more in-depth discussion about it as a buddy read in the future, so hopefully my head will have stopped spinning by then. This week I took a blast from the past and jumped into season 4 of The IT Crowd. I'd previously only seen the first 3 seasons, and although I have quite an affection for the characters, and some of the ridiculous situations they find themselves in, it is really hard for me to find this show funny. The show frames Jen, the main female character, as a woman who hates women as a way of getting around having interesting female characters. Any comedy that thinks that it can include a sexual assault trial is misled, but when it forces the same female character to think that that trial is hilarious, I'm out. This week I finished the 4th season of Orphan Black, and I found out that one of my friends is friends with Tatiana Maslany, further perpetuating the stereotype that everyone in Canada knows everyone else in Canada. I'm both excited for and dreading the 5th season because I want to know how it ends, but I don't want it to end. I enjoyed that this season played with the timeline a bit and took us into some of Beth's past from before the show started. At least before season 1 started. I cannot recommend this show highly enough. The performances by the entire cast are phenomenal, and obviously I hold a huge place in my heart for all of the sisters. Survivor returned for the 35th season, the gimmick this time being heroes, healers, and hustlers. It is too early in the season for me to give too many opinions, besides I'm hating the 2 alpha bros. I also wondered out loud to my roommate after the episode if the women are contractually obligated to appear in their underwear, and if they're obligated to shave their armpits and their legs while they're cast away, because that is something that has bothered me about the series. This week in Downton Abbey we watched most of the rest of season 5. I believe we just have one more episode to go, which is a Christmas episode, but I'm unwilling to look it up because spoilers. I'm just glad it didn't end on a major cliffhanger because my schedule prevents me from watching it with my best friend for a couple of weeks. This week in relation to Downton Abbey, I want to talk about women's hairstyles. Yes, I know that's not my usual thing, but go with me here. Throughout the series we've marveled at how the extremely long hair of the female characters has some kind of hair magic to it that has kept it to above their necks. Where does it go? How can it possibly compact up onto their heads like that? Honestly, I didn't realize they all had long hair until their first getting ready for bed scene, or the first time a lady's maid was shown brushing her mistress's hair. In this season, one of the girls gets a short, modern for 1924 haircut, and the reaction is that she has lost her femininity. Apparently, the norm is to have hair that appears short, but is stuck in place so it's not in the way. But having hair that is actually short is a sin. I held on to this internalized misogyny for most of my life, which is why I only started cutting my hair short recently. That, and I was scared my natural curls would make me look like a poodle. Anyway, somehow this notion of being unfeminine if you have short hair bled into my knowledge of the world 75 years after this period piece is set. And it bothers me that I believed it for so long. This week I listened to Landline by Rainbow Rowell. This is an adult contemporary book about a woman named Georgie McCool who breaks the news to her husband that she has to work over Christmas. A high-powered studio executive wants a meeting in 10 days to discuss the pilot that her and her best friend have been working on for years. Neil, Georgie's husband, takes their 2 daughters to Nebraska as scheduled to spend Christmas with his mother, leaving Georgie in LA to contend with her script, her best friend, and her mother freaking out that Neil left Georgie. While staying over at her mom's because she didn't want to go home to an empty house, Georgie calls Neil from the landline in her old childhood home and soon realizes she's talking to Neil from 15 years ago. I really adored this book. The characters are so well fleshed out, and I believed every dip and peak in this emotional roller coaster. The voice actress reading this book made every character come alive. And I know a book is well read when I can feel myself making faces about it while I'm writing the bus. The amount of times that I rolled my eyes at Georgie's mom or smiled at Georgie's daughter because she believes she's the best green kitty. Just yes. I love the characters and all the misadventures, and secretly was happy that I'm not the only adult that doesn't have her shit together. This week I also listened to Hunger by Roxane Gay. I didn't know much about Gay going into this book besides what I read in Bad Feminist, which is the only other thing I've read by Gay. This was read by the author, and I identified with a lot of the points she brought up and felt furious empathy for some of the things she's gone through. If you're not familiar with her work, she's a writer from America, she's taught in quite a few universities, and she's had quite an adventurous life. She also happens to be fat. That last aspect is what gets noticed first and most often unless she's in an online setting, and the amount of disrespect she has had to endure is staggering. She's had strangers take things that they don't think she should eat out of her shopping cart. Just what? People need to mind their own damn business. The lack of worth our society places on people of size makes me frustrated, sad, and incredibly angry. Judgments cloaked in health concerns can go straight to hell. Fat people should not have to constantly remind others that they are people too. But that's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you later. Bye! Throughout the series, we've marveled how the extremely long hair of the female characters has some kind of magic to it, so it's never below their necks. My piercing came out in the middle of that shot.